I'm going to start here, and this is where the cool intro is going to go. Like, the really awesome video intro that we have for Season 2.
Intro.
Yeah, well, there's music and video.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have it for Season 2. And so, we'll, like, pause. The intro is still going. I'm sure it's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, at least. Or 45 seconds.
Yeah. There's some really cool shit going on.
Yeah.
There's, like, girls, and they're shaking their hoo-hoo.
Yeah, with girls without bras.
Yeah. I like girls without bras.
Yeah, me too.
There's actually a girl without a bra on the couch. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
But then Negative Sons came over, and he said it's the first thing he noticed.
Yeah, that's true.
You did not say that.
Yes, he did.
you missed it completely.
Well, we are back. I think this is Season 2 of Starcraft 2 Amateur Hour.
This is either Season 2 or Season 1.5, but hopefully it's Season 2.
Yeah, or the end of Season 1, right before we end the season again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been away for a long time, and it's nice to see this video game in front of us again.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying our vacation.
Yeah, me too. I beat Amnesia. I played Costume Quest.
Yeah, I'm playing like Oblivion finally, and even though it's like 4 years old or whatever. How old is it?
It's old enough.
And Dragon Age, I'm just role playing all the time.
It's nice to, I don't know, it's weird, I guess, because when you're playing StarCraft all the time, and maybe a lot of you who watch the show play StarCraft all the time, and maybe you know what we mean, but maybe not, because we were really playing all the time. Like, you know, I was playing every single night to be like, I have to be up on the latest everything that's going on, so I'm going to play every single night. And it just playing this game burns you out like that, man.
Yeah, you were really bad though for a little while.
Yeah,
you were extremely bad. Like,
I had
you
a
literally
meltdown.
every night, like no matter how stressful your day at work was, like you could be like crying on the bus on the way home from work, and you would come home and you'd play like 5 games of StarCraft, which is like if you're already emotionally disturbed, playing StarCraft is not good for you.
I felt like I had to keep playing, and then you know, when the Christmas break came, and I just kind of had a little bit of essentially a physical breakdown where my body just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It was nice, and it was nice to step away, and that was just kind of a natural end to the season, really.
Yeah.
And to the year, to just relax. But we're back. We have no clue what the hell we're talking about, but we never did.
Nothing can keep us away from you guys forever, for too long.
Exactly, and they gave us some money, so we kind of owe them an episode.
Yeah, at least one episode.
At least one. Hope this episode's worth $100 you gave us.
But
if not, we're just going out to dinner with it.
yeah, but no, that's not our plan.
Okay.
But I don't think so, right?
Maybe, who knows?
You didn't tell me that.
I might have spent it already.
Okay, cool. But anyways, so
All right.
we're never having another fundraiser again. By the way, I don't think. Actually, that might not be true.
That's not true. If you want to send money, there's still a PayPal link somewhere. Please.
Yeah. Specify in your donation. You got to specify who you like better, Guns Akimbo or Negative Sons, because that's who gets the money.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll do a poll on Starcraft.org forums. Okay, so we're picking back up right where we left off. Well, right where we were about to leave off in Season 1. And at the end of Season 1, if you were a member of Starcraft.org or on the forums or whatever, you would have seen me crying repeatedly about 4-gate rushes. Something that I still never got over. And so we're going to pick back up going over some 4-gate rush stuff. I don't even know what it means anymore, but Negative Sons seems to know it because he's a Protoss.
Yeah, and my whole thing was I never really understood why it was so hard to. I mean, like obviously it's a very strong timing attack, but I never really understood why it was like so impossible to stop.
Yeah.
Why everybody complained about it so much.
But you were a Protoss, so you were doing it.
I didn't do it that much, but I did it occasionally. It's a strong attack, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very strong timing attack. You know, like a 5 roach rush. That was something that was real, right?
Yeah, but there's just so many variations of the 4-gate rush. Like the 5 roach rush, there's just, you know, it's a 5 roach rush. There's one specific timing for it. The only alternative to it is the 7 roach rush, or the all-in 7 roach rush with the queen and drones.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the kind of thing where you can easily spot it, whereas the 4-gate rush is always difficult to spot. It has, I mean, at a core level, about 4 variations.
Well, yeah.
And then outside of that, there's a lot of variations just in sloppy factor, or in factor of like someone's like, I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm 4-gating.
Yeah, well, that's true of a lot of things, though, in StarCraft. Is scouting is hard at more amateur-ish levels of play, just because of that sloppy factor.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Sloppy factor.
Yeah, it reminds. It's nice. Like a sexy word.
It is.
But sorry,
so we're gonna do 2 games today. The first one is just a practice match from a while back with Negative Suns and myself because I was asking him to go 4-gate against me.
Yeah, this is actually the game where this is a game where we're practicing that, where you realized that it was 4 gates. That is what was happening to you.
Okay, so we didn't. I don't remember.
You weren't sure. You just kept saying that you hated playing Protest because they always won like with a lot of units, like an attack. And I suggested that maybe it was that you were getting 4-gated.
Yeah.
That it was like a very popular timing attack, and so we were testing that here to see. So this is back to the very beginning of the problem. We're testing to see if that's actually the case.
Yeah.
So
so right now, the first scout is in. And you can never really tell. I mean, as far as I know, you can't really tell anything at this point in the game at 15 can't. Supply.
And that's why 4-gate is a lot of times described as hard to scout. But in reality, sometimes I feel like that's not true because if the Protoss went 1 gate into core, there's only a few follow-ups. There's only 3 follow-ups to that. One is attack structure, so that's a robo, which is what I'm doing here, gateway into core. One is attack structure. So Robo or Stargate. One is an expansion, so a Nexus at the natural, and the other is a 4-gate or a 3-gate or some variation of multiple gateways. Yeah. And so I feel like 4 gates are easiest to scout when people put all 4 gateways right by their ramp.
Okay. But that's rarely. I mean, I feel like that never happens. It almost defeats the purpose.
But my point is that, and this is an interesting way of thinking about it, is that if they're doing a tech building, like 1 gate into a tech building, they're going to be hiding the tech building also. Yeah. So it really there's only two things you have to be scouting for, which is either gate core nexus or gate core and something hidden. Okay. You know what I'm saying, kind of? Does that make sense? Okay. And I think I don't remember really what we were talking about, like what was going on in our heads at this point, but I think I remember like there was a specific timing I was telling you to scout at. Yeah, well, and like 4.5 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you said. 4.5 minutes into the game, make sure you have your second scout going into the base, or get a scout on some way, because right around that time is, well, at least for you, is when the other gateways go down. And right here we're at 4:48, and your second gateway going down, and I'm sure.
Yeah, third. Usually you'll put all 3 in order. You'll get the core up first. And then you'll start researching Chrono Boost, so you can get the fastest possible Chrono Boost research done, and then you'll immediately put the 3 follow-up gateways.
Yeah, and that's why you see this Overlord kind of coming in at this point, a little bit late, but also at that point is horrible because the Stalker's popping out, and I think that's another challenge of the 4-gate, especially with anything, really. I feel like this is a common tactic of right as your 3 extra gates are going down, or your 2 other gates and Robo are going down.
But I think you actually do see...
what's the button to see vision?
I don't know. V? Just V?
Let's just see what I see.
So you do see 2.
Yeah, I saw 2. And usually I feel like when you see 2, you can just guesstimate that there's one more. One.
Yeah, especially if you see our Chrono Boost on the Cybernetics core at that time.
And so, let's see, what do I have here? I want to go, right now I'm going to focus on units.
There you go. Cool.
And see, and this is one of the core problems that, like it took me a very long time with the 4-gate stuff, and this is kind of me going like, okay, well I saw stuff, and I have Zerglings, and I can possibly maybe scout and attack, hopefully Russian, I don't remember what my mind state was. But you see the core problem, and I feel like we'll get to that point as we go on, is just the worker difference of, I feel like with any, what's happening? Ooh, Roach and Ling preparation coming.
You've got roaches, and I'm actually other watchtower with warping and stuff.
Yeah, like the hardest thing of the 4-gate is the fact that it comes strong early, and it just wears you down slowly. And one of the biggest points of it is that people don't realize is it's not an army game at that point. It's an economic game. Yeah. And that's one of the hardest things to realize, because it's 7 minutes in. There's that's a huge army for 7 minutes coming in at you, and you're like, okay, I just got to keep pumping units. I got to stop this, and we'll get into that later.
Well, one of the interesting things I noted when I was like picking these replays is just take a quick, because it's relevant to the next game is just take a quick note of the different supply counts. So right at this time when the attack is coming,
45.
You have 45, and I have 45. So it's similar supply, plus I have many more probes.
Yeah.
So really, you have a larger supply and army than I do.
Yeah. But I feel like the Protoss army is just like, it's so strong, and if it catches you by surprise, if you don't have that positioning and you don't have the right
it's very much about
unit
positioning.
composition.
That's part of the point.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, so I just wanted to make note of that.
Yeah. So this is you poking in and being like, oh, only 4 roaches, and then me being like, okay, I got some things, everyone come back now.
Yeah, you were in a bad position too. On this map is hard for that kind of stuff too, I remember, because you can't, if you have that, you were expecting to see my guys come out of my base.
Yeah.
And with the proxy pellet at that other watchtower, you don't see that from that location.
Yeah, and also this map's really tough too because, you know, one of the tactics, again, next game, we'll get into more detail, but, you know, this is a great choke that you could easily just spread some creep and put some spine crawlers down and defend that, but this map sucks so bad because you just have this here, and it's like you're just rushing back and forth, and this is like a really hard map to stop a 4-gate on, and I feel like it's a pretty popular map for 4-gate.
No, I agree.
And also that, and it's such a short distance between the bases that even if you're putting spine crawlers down, you have to put them down preemptively.
Yeah,
before you suspect, before you even know there's a 4-gate, or if you have to smell it early somehow.
Yeah.
And just be like, put it down early, because if you see the army pushing out already, you're too late on your spine crawlers.
I think your spine crawlers need to match up pretty much exactly with when they put down their gateways.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Just afterwards.
You know, a little bit after you see them.
Yeah.
But I noticed, like, one of the things I noted when I was watching between these games was that your way that you engaged me, part of it was your positioning. You had so many guys forward.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like I had all of my guys together, and it was kind of like you were like jabbing at me with like a fork or something.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like it was like a little jab here, a little jab there.
I just finished dinner and I just wanted to stab you with a fork.
Yeah, but it was like your army was a little bit wasted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was coming from multiple angles, which is good. It was a surround, but it wasn't at once.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem of you're like, okay, shit's coming at me. I just need to stall. Like, you know, but really in this kind of situation, it's it's over.
Well, we're practicing.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's you know, like you just have to be like, all right, screw it, I lost this expansion. I need to just group up as much as possible and completely just come at you with a sizable army where I can at least make a dent.
Yeah. One of my favorite ways for Zerg to defend on this map actually is just to like you were talking about how the spine crawls can be risky because of the back door.
Yeah.
But to use like a different way of thinking about that and just put like the 2 or 3 spine crawlers at your natural, making that into like sort of like a choke point, like an impenetrable point for the attacker, which means that they're gonna have to attack your rocks, which buys you whatever time you need to get another round of roaches out, another round of zerglings out, or whatever. Hopefully.
Yeah, but at the same time, that also kind of buys you that extra time too of like, I'm just gonna keep building up then and out army you.
Yeah, but I think that with any kind of timing attack like this, like part of the strength of an early 4-gate is the surprise factor of that you can't scout it early. So there's a time when I have the maximum amount of more power than you do.
Yeah.
And the longer that time drags on before that initial attack comes, the better chance it gives you to catch up.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. Really, on this kind of map, though, my main what I came to at the end of dealing with 4-gates is that there's different ways to deal with them. And it's very map specific. There's people on forums that just scream like, just build spine crawlers.
Yeah.
That's just build spine crawlers. And I hate those people because it's like, what does that mean? Just build spine crawlers. 4-5 spine crawlers, bro. 4-5, and it's like, on a lot of maps that doesn't work.
You know, I agree with you.
Especially maps with wider chokes. And a map like this even, where there are 2 entrances, even if this does take a while to wear down.
I think there's lots of ways, but I do think
I think, like, let me just finish this point. On a lot of maps, and this map in general, instead of spine crawlers, a lot of times just having a mobile army is the best. And maybe, if you have the time, having enough of a mix of just getting a few roaches up front anywhere, and the rest kind of zerglings. Or, it's kind of whatever unit combo you want, obviously within the tier 1 units. But, on a map like this where there's 2 entrances, personally, I hit the point where I was like, okay, I'd rather just have the army, because every time I put spine crawlers down, they go to my back door, and I'm scrambling to my back door. I'm trying to move spine crawlers back there, and then they decide to push back up here anyways.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more work than it needs to be.
No, I agree with you. But I think also that especially if you decide to go the route of having to getting a fast hatchery.
Okay.
That having those spine crawlers is a good way to supplement the fact that you're gonna have less. You're not gonna have the tech that you need early enough, really, to make enough. Like if you had gone one hatchery roach. See, I don't remember that much stuff. I'm kind of feeling stupid, but
yeah.
But if you went like one hatchery roach, Warren, and then you like made all roaches, you could have a large amount of roaches, but your economy's gonna suffer.
Yeah, well, like
so. I feel like let me finish
go ahead. Yeah.
So I feel like if you do go for that second hatchery to stay even on economy, that getting some spine crawlers is a good way to buy time for your tech to kick in.
Of course. But really, like, the biggest point that I learned personally with 4-Gate is all the stuff we're talking about. Again, like, there's so many different variations, so many different ways you can go of the way you defend it, the tech patterns you do, and what you're going to do to hold, while those tech patterns finish. The number one thing is it is an economic game. Just in the end, still, by the end of the game, I think I still had 18 drones, and you had 25 probes. Yeah. There's just, like, there's a lot of games that people will play against the 4-Gate push that they'll be like, all right, well, I finally mastered the combination. I put down my 2 spine crawlers. I had, 4 roaches
all
here,
the exact ingredients.
This thing here, and I held off the first wave, but then the second wave came, and, like, then I got worn down. The third wave came, and it was over.
Yeah.
And that really just, the biggest point I can state is that it's an econ game, and you need to at least match their worker production.
I agree with that,
and that's the number one key.
Totally.
And there's different times to cut worker production. I find in general for most 4-Gates, aside from the extremely fast 4-Gate pure zealot rush, in most cases cutting your workers at 30, just droning up or building, like workers up to 30 supply of that. That's the point where you're safe. That's the point where you're like, okay, well, he might come at me now. He might even do some damage, but I have the economy to keep pumping an army back at him. It's like that's the sliding scale of, but there's no floor, so that scale keeps going.
So if you get 4-Gated, so your thing is like if you're getting 4-Gated as Zerg, that you have to Zerg 4-Gate back.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think of it too, I guess.
You need to match worker production, you need to match econ, and then you just need to outmaneuver the opponent and know how to stop it.
And I think also spine crawlers could be good if like if let's say you're going extreme economy and you don't scout that. Like let's say you don't scout the 4-Gate and you don't know whether you should cut workers at 30.
Yeah.
And so you keep making more workers, and then you find out, oh shit, it's actually a 4-Gate. Just send all the workers over 30 to make spine crawlers.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, it's a tough balance because spine crawlers take so long to make. But we can talk more about all these details in Game 2.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. Let's go. Let's go, Power.
All right, so we're on to the second game of the very scattered 4-Gate discussion where we try to remember what Starcraft is like and what 4-Gates are.
We're gonna talk about, like probably list this episode as like 4-Gate, try to stop 4-Gate as Zerg or something like that, but in reality this episode is really about how to remember to do amateur hour shows.
I'm sure listeners can tell we're a little bit out of out of practice, but it's cool. This game features Logicane, which is awesome because Logicane is now a mod on Starcraft.org and is one of the coolest people ever.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
He gave us, I think, like 80 of the $100 that we got.
Yeah, or like 50 of the 100.
I don't know. But he's awesome.
Yeah, and then there's Felgama. Or Felgama, however you want to say it.
Yeah, that guy.
He's also on the forums, but I don't think I've talked to him much before.
Anyways,
do you guys want to know who I talked to? I talk to
Guns Kimmo all the time.
Not really, not lately.
Talks to me. Guns Kimmo talks to me.
Actually, we haven't really even talked since amateur hour break.
I know. Our entire friendship is amateur hour.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe that will change again.
Maybe.
And so... Negative has seen these games, I haven't, so I have no clue what's going to happen.
You saw the last game because it was you.
Yeah, but I don't even remember it.
I know. I don't remember it either until I saw it. I was like, oh wow, I have 4-Gate stuff too.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like, going on, like, if you're a player that's suffering from that whole, "Oh, I can't beat four gates," and you're watching this episode, and you're like, they're not telling me anything. Just know that I know your pain. There's so much bad advice.
Somebody can cry with you.
One thing I remember reading on the forums a long time back, people were talking about how the Damaga build is really good against four gates, where he just essentially, I mean, the Damaga build is, from what I remember it, is essentially cutting drones at 30 and then just building like endless supply of plus one speedlings.
That sounds cool.
And it's amazing because really, once you understand the economy factor of of how to defend against the four gate, you can almost really go any variation, as long as you don't try to tech up, because that screws you. You just have to stay. You really have to stay tier 1 no matter what. I mean, some people can pull off going hydras, but that's like, you really gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, really. Sorry, and I know I'm interrupting you a little bit by saying this, but I think it augments what you're saying. I think that really the core of it is realizing that you have to get the same amount of income coming in as they are coming in into their army.
Yeah.
And you need to convert that same amount of income into your defensive army over time, like consistently. And that's really the key. I think the key to it, holding this off.
Okay, now Felgama just spotted the four gate blatantly, so he knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see his response. Now he's throwing down a Roach Warren
before hatchery.
Yeah, I mean, this could be one way. Really, I prefer a second hatch no matter what.
Yeah.
Just because people think it's like, oh, you're being greedy, you're expanding. You're not. You're giving yourself enough larvae to compete on both the drone front and the army front, and then be able to match an army quickly.
But he actually does get a second in-base hatchery after Roach Warren.
I think that's a good idea, personally, because, you know, hopefully it seems like he understands the fact that he's going to need to build a lot of units very quickly, and that this investment will be worth it.
Yeah, and he's also getting a few spine crawls. I don't know if all 3 of those were necessary, but maybe they are. I don't know how feels like to get this attacked by Zerg. But
yeah, honestly, I think 3. I mean, this is a nice map to hold it off on. It sucks because the rush distance is so short. I mean, he's just gonna. The Protoss can be in this guy's base in a moment.
Yeah.
But the choke is great. It's good that he didn't expand for this in some ways, because it's very hard to defend this area against the 4 gate.
Yeah, it's very wide open.
Spine crawlers only help a little bit, but staying up here, he's being defensive. These 3 spine crawlers help a lot. I mean, you know, 4 spine crawlers put down at a perfect time are great in defending a 4 gate.
I think his attack comes a little bit too early too. We probably should have waited for another wave of stuff.
Yeah.
But he only loses 1 stalker. But it does let the Zerg know that it's right outside.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that. But I think that even if he waited for another wave of stuff, when his second attack comes, I want to take a second look at the supplies, because in the previous game it was 45 supply to a 45 supply.
Okay.
So it was pretty even, right? And you had mostly Zerglings and some roaches.
Yeah.
So right when they fire their first shots, I kind of want to let's take a second and look at this.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah, right here's good. So for Zerg,
Zerg's at 26.
26. And Protoss is 37.
37. And see.
Sorry, so I'm saying this is like a slightly earlier. I think this is a slightly earlier attack, because I think my attack came at 9 minutes, and this one's coming at a 7-minute mark.
Yeah.
So he's I guess 1 wave away from where I was, and the Zerg's and one batch of eggs from where you were or something.
Yeah. But again, one of the problems here, and I don't know how this game goes, if Felgama holds it or what. I would assume, because you chose this game second, but whatever, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But this still right here, the drone count, whether or not he holds it, it's still a bit of a problem. And again, part of the problem with going with spine crawler defense is that you're sacrificing drones, and drones are so crucial.
Totally, I agree with you.
But whatever, let's see what happens. Let's see how he holds it, because this is a little bit of a strange 4 gate push for me.
It's a little strange. It doesn't feel as powerful as the one from the previous game.
Yeah.
But also, it is very close in unit count. Like, he has less units than you did in that game, but also Lochicane has less units than I did.
Yeah.
But I think what was remarkable to me is just how, I think it was only 2 or 3 of those spine crawlers were ever active.
Okay.
But it was just amazing to me how quickly those spine crawlers shredded up the stalkers.
Yeah, no, they really did a good job. But I think it's a little bit of a double thing on this where Logicane, I think might have jumped the gun slightly. Might have been a little bit greedy with the 4-gate. Of being like, I'm 4-gate, I'm going to catch him off guard.
No, I agree with you about that. I think it was a little early.
Yeah, I feel like if he just held off a little bit more because you see now the drone count's going up. The probe count's going up slowly too, but now Felgama's feeling confident. He held off that rush, and now he can take a second to breathe and keep droning up, and you see him teching up as well.
Yeah, I agree. But I think also that that it's almost like a catch-22 of making drones or not, because like if you make a lot of drones early, obviously you're not going to have as much defenses. I mean, you're going to get an economy kicking in, but does it kick in, before the 9-minute mark when a really strong 4-gate comes, or the 8-minute mark, whatever it may be?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Falgama probably cut about the right time. I feel like he cut a little bit early. Cutting at 16 drones.
Yeah.
Now he's at 18, but cutting at 16 drones is just pretty early. I feel really, even if you have the fastest of 4-gates coming at you, just having 18 to 20 drones, I feel like is still crucial.
I agree. I think what I thought was interesting is just like looking at this game and looking at the previous game, looking at the difference between the way that the Protoss army was forced to engage the Zerg.
Yeah.
Whereas in the previous game, your Zerg forces were kind of spread out and attacking the Protoss ball kind of one piece at a time.
Okay.
And I feel like here the Zerg being more defensive and kind of holding back and having the Protoss walk up onto the creep and into the spine crawlers.
Yeah.
Is what sort of allowed him to hold that. And now here, this is a much bigger force. Actually, I'm actually curious, what's the supply count right now?
58 to 57, so it's even supply. But with these spine crawlers here, it's
much
not
different. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the Protoss force limits at all right now.
No, I don't either.
Let's see. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Misplaced shield.
It's like a fancy shield.
Yeah, sorry, Logicane. We're not making fun. You own this show now. Technically, Logicane is partial owner of Starcraft Amateur Hour.
He has more than 50% stock.
Yeah, exactly.
He could sell us on the stock market if he wants to.
Now, okay, so this was an interesting game up to this point. I'm trying to think of the direct points that I'd like to take from it. Usually we do this before the show, but,
but we didn't, so whatever.
We're just jumping back into
it.
You
guys can see the raw, uncut stuff.
Ooh.
Was my favorite stuff.
I mean, I guess some of the point that can be taken away is just, okay, so Felgama spotted it, and sadly Logicane didn't make it hard for him to spot.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the hardest things, again, as always, is spotting a 4-gate. Is the first thing of spotting a 4-gate. If, you're always just not sure. And playing against a Protoss player is so stressful in that early game because you're just not sure if that's coming. And if you take too many risks before confirming or denying a 4-gate, you could have just completely shot yourself in in whatever you're going to shoot yourself in.
Which is why, like, in these positions, I might do something like, well, I would block off my ramp with one of the gateways, and then I would build, like, maybe the 3 other gateways, like, somewhere, like, way over here, or even, like, in this hidden fog area. It's always cool if you're the Protoss that's trying to execute the 4-gate to hide the other 3 gates, or even to put, like, one gate in the southwest, one gate in the southeast, and one gate in the, north somewhere, and have them all split up. So, the Zerg would have to have scouts all over your entire base in order to see it. In this case, all he has to do is fly in from the southeast, from his starting position, up into the Protoss base, and he can see everything that's there.
Yeah, and so, all right, so the 2 big things that I have written down my notepad about stopping a 4-gate is, and this is, I mean, I guess he does both well, is number 1, scout the 4-gate. Like, scouting the 4-gate. And right here, again, we see at the 4-minute mark is when the 4-gate is happening. So that can really just be advice number 1. At around 4 minutes into the game, make sure you have your little timer up here if you don't have it in the options already. Just get in there somehow, or be prepared. Even if, like, it's hard to get in his base, have an overlord somewhere. Is that a Ninja Turtle?
I'm going to pretend it is, because it looks like one to me. Looks like Michelangelo.
I can't tell what that is.
Michelangelo the Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think, is this the map where, like, they have a billboard that changes every time you load the map?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is. Actually, I think it's over. Do you mind if I steal this?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure there's a billboard over here that changes every time you load this map. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining things. Yeah, it's the iPod. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's nice.
I could be wrong about this.
You're probably wrong. I always assume you're wrong on everything.
Yeah, it's a good policy to have. We should show them. Hold on, before you do that.
Yeah.
We should show them how to turn on the clock, so that way there can be actually something in this entire episode that's actually educational.
The complete noob's guide to Starcraft. Yeah. I don't even know how to turn the clock on.
You go to options, and then you go to gameplay. You go to.
Did you turn the clock on?
Show game timer. Yeah, I think I did actually.
Where is it?
Give me the thing.
I don't see it.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Here.
So
show game timer.
Either learn that or have negative sons come over to your house and do it for you, like he does for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 4 minutes in, scout. Whatever you gotta do, just do it. And then from there, the big second rule is cut drones at the correct time.
Yeah.
And that essentially means, and there's a couple of ways to understand like what that time is going to be. I feel, if you're able to keep getting scouts on in there, if you're seeing more zealot production, no stalker production, I feel like if you see just pure zealot production, also even like no cyber core and just 4 gates means that the 4 gate zealot rush is coming at you, and it's coming strong, it's coming quick, it's coming essentially right away. It's the first wave is going to be big and full of zealots. That's where you cut at around 18 drones or so. Aside from that, I feel like most of the other 4 gates come in a time that you can have 30 supply with drones out and then be worrying about army.
Yeah, I think... Sorry, continue your thought.
Yeah, okay. Your thought. And you know, and in that point, at that part, not even making units, just making drones. If you're going to go one way or another in tech, just have that tech structure ready. If you're going to go for +1 speedlings, which I personally think are awesome against a 4 gate.
I agree. Just get your stalker heavy ones.
Yeah, or really any. As long as you have enough speedlings, you can almost destroy anything except air, obviously. So get your +1 ready, but don't build zerglings. Or if you're going roach warren, get your roach warren down, but don't build roaches. Never get your spire. If you build the spire, you die.
Yeah, basically.
Or just get whatever you want to get together. Just get it ready, and and essentially, you need to have some kind of scout just outside here, or just or be checking for Earth. It's a warp gate push. Just checking. You need to be actively scouting.
Yeah.
You need to know the moment he's pushing out, and also, one big thing that I learned from playing too is when to put down your spine crawlers. A lot of players would be like, okay, I spotted a 4 gate, I'm dumping spine crawlers down right now. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in that. That kind of screws you on the drone production early. You essentially want to drop your spine crawlers just as he's moving out. They're like the moment you see something coming down his ramp, that's when you put your spine crawlers down. Because also what happens sometimes, especially against better players, once you get into more the platinum range even, is they'll start going towards 4 gate tech. They'll scout you and they'll see like, okay, he put down 6 spine crawlers already.
Yeah, I'm not going to attack him.
Yeah, and then they just change tech.
Yeah.
And now you just wasted 6 drones, spent, what is it? It's like
600 or something like that.
And you're kind of screwed. You're stuck on this defensive path, and they're not. They're like, okay, well, I canceled a warp gate. I canceled a gateway, and now I'm going, 3 gate expand into like 6 gate robo.
Yeah, like ideally, I feel like ideally you want the ideal situation is you want the spine crawlers. This obviously is not achievable in every game, but you would want your spine crawlers to finish like literally a second before they walk into range of the spine crawlers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so
I mean, it's even fine if it's like if they finish after they, just after the army shows up.
Yeah.
As long as you have some army to engage. But and this is where we can make a positioning point too. If you're sticking off one base for start, spine crawlers are great. You just build your hatchery, you put some spine crawlers here, just have them, whatever you want to do. But in this kind of position where it gets very, very hard, like it's almost impossible to hold off with spine crawlers here, because obviously everyone knows you can come in, you can sneak in at this angle. If not, you can come at this. There's always an angle to get around. And the worst is you're like, okay, I got like 5 spine crawlers up. They're all in here. And then somehow they just like wrap around and they just sit here and you're like, shit.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So in this kind of instance, I would maybe build like, if any, I'd build 1 or 2 spine crawlers just kind of around the hatch. So if they try to get up, whatever. Just as a little bit of support, but really focus on having that mobile army to just be chasing them out at whatever angle they try to get you at.
So normally, I don't know if you remember this, but normally when you're going hatchery first, you'll put your hatchery down, what, at like 14 or 15 supply? Is that what it was? 16? Something like that?
Hatchery first, or you just like early expand?
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Because usually it'd be like, like
when do you put your hatchery down?
Like I'll put like 12 pool, 14 hatch.
Okay. Because I think what I liked, one thing I thought was interesting about Felgama's build in this game is that he when he scouted the 4-gate, that he went Roach Warren first, and then he went hatchery in his main, second hatchery in his main. And I'm pretty sure I thought that he put the Roach Warren down in time, that he could have still, like if it wasn't a 4-gate, he could have put a hatchery down in his natural. Is that even possible or no?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know.
So you're saying like he could have put the hatchery first before the Roach Warren?
Like his Roach Warren was, no, I'm saying like his Roach Warren was dependent on his scouting, is what I'm saying. Like had he not seen a 4-gate, he could have done a normal hatchery at his natural.
Yeah.
Or was it too late for that? Do you want to go back and find it or no?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I feel like I get what you're saying. Where
like
is it too late to go?
It's a forked build. Like he's at 16 supply right now, and the Roach Warren just finished. He scouted the 4-gate already. It's the 4-minute and 20-minute mark. So if he had not scouted a 4-gate by the time it was 4.5 minutes in, he could have just built a 16 hatchery at his natural, right? Or no?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like it's a little bit scary at that point when you see a 4-gate and you're on a map where you could build your 16 hatch. Are you talking the 16 hatch down here?
No, but what I'm saying.
Anywhere?
No, what I'm saying is he only built the Roach Warren because he saw the 4-gate.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what build he was going for, because he might have just been going, for close position,
one base build,
one base roach push, because he didn't have any lings on the map.
But I think it's a cool possibility to play around with, having a 16 supply, either Roach Warren if you scout a 4-gate, or hatchery at your natural if you don't see a 4-gate.
I don't know, personally, if I saw a 4-gate even at 16 supply, I'd still go hatchery first.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that would be me. I think that the larva is more important. The larva is more important than the units. But this is a little bit of a rough situation, just because the push comes so early. So if he went, maybe if he went hatchery first, he would have been screwed.
It would have been too early or something.
But I mean, he had 4 spine crawlers though. All he had to do was have one creep tumor and take all these spine crawlers, and he's building a 4th one now, and just wall off.
I thought the in-base hatchery was kind of cool adaptation against 4-gate, just because you still have the same unit production as you would with the natural, you just have less income.
Yeah, no, it's good. I have no problem with it at all.
And at this point, when he only has 18 drones, he doesn't need the extra. He's not at full saturation, so he doesn't need the natural hatchery yet.
Yeah, he just needs the larva.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, really, when you're going 16 hatch against a 4-gate, you're not using that expansion for mining at all. It's just pure production. It's great because once you hold off the 4-gate, you have your expansion up.
Right spot already.
But on a map like this where it's just tough and you're just worried about surviving that, really, like, you're just worried about surviving the initial push. Because once you can survive the initial 4-gate pushes, unless you really fuck up, you pretty much have the game. So at this point, he doesn't need to even have an expansion. He knows, or a good player would know, okay, well, I held it off, and now he just kind of screwed himself, and I'm just going to come in and win.
Which is why I'm thinking maybe like Roach Warren first could be. I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I don't play Zerg. Could be an interesting variant opening against Protoss, just because you put so let's say you put the Roach Warren first, and then you scout that they're going for an econ build. You can just put your expansion down as your second hatchery, and have and be in a normal game state. You've wasted the money to make the Roach Warren, but you're going to use the tech later. Your hatchery comes a little bit later, but you're not going to be worried about saturation at that point anyway. Or if you see that they're going for a rush or 4-gate, you can put your second hatchery in your main and have unit production off of 2 hatcheries plus the tech of the Roach Warren.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it plays out like a very high level. I don't even really remember. Yeah. But it just seemed interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. You have a point. I don't really have anything to say on that though. But yeah. And that's the timer.
End of the show.
Thank God. Beep, beep, beep. All right, now I can stop being confused and go back to playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
It seems like a good game.
Awesome. It's terrifying.
I gotta show you a video on YouTube that I saw of a guy recording his reactions while he plays Amnesia.
That game is so scary. Like, seriously, I haven't been as scared in a game since Silent Hill 1.
Yeah.
When I would play Silent Hill 1 at like 4 in the fucking morning at the apartment I had at the time, because I was working a late shift, and I'd come home and everyone would be asleep. I'd play Silent Hill at 4 a.m. and I'd sit there with my mouth wide-eyed, and I'd feel like, you know that adrenaline shock that goes through you when someone's jumped out at you?
Yeah.
I just feel that coursing through me, and I got kind of addicted to fear.
Yeah.
For a little while because of it, and that's how I felt playing Amnesia. It's a great game. It's so good.
I can't play any games that are scary.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I like literally can't play like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. I like get too scared and I have to like stop playing and then load up like, you know, like Dragon Age or something like that.
Yeah, but you should play Costume Quest, man. It's Halloween themed, so and there's costumes and scary monster costumes.
Like, actually I like didn't want to like purchase Plants vs Zombies just because I was worried maybe it would be somehow scary.
Wow. Yeah. And you play Starcraft, though. It's tense. It's scary.
Yeah, I know, because that's not fear. That's like
stress and hatred.
Yeah, that's why I don't play Zerg though. If I played Zerg, I would be too scared to even. Oh, do you remember our friend that we had that used to play Starcraft? That like whenever he would play against Zerg, he would actually get scared.
Yeah, he'd quit. He'd see
he'd see Lurker attack and he'd be like, "That's it."
All I had to do was tech to Ultralist. He'd see one Ultralist and he'd quit. Even if all I had was like 50 drones and one Ultralist, and he had like 15 expansions and an army.
You show
if you saw, I show him. That's how I would win against him all the time. I just like. I'd tech to something random that I know he was terrified of, just to build one of them.
You like just show him a lurker coming on screen and burrowing, and it's GG, he's done.
Then, if he didn't GG right then, he'd just like freak out and make every mistake possible, and within 5 minutes I'd win. Yeah, it was cool.
Anyways,
all of you should be that way.
Yeah, I hope you guys had fun watching StarCraft 2 Amateur Hour Season 2 Episode 1.
All right, bye. GG.